Hello, we are back again, starting to read the book Swami and Friends by R.K. Narayan. We are starting to read chapter 13, which is titled The MCC. 6 weeks later, Rajam came to Swaminathan's house to announce that he forgave him all his sins, starting with his political activities to his new acquisition, the board high school air, by which was meant a certain slowness and stupidity engendered by mental decay. After making his exit from Albert Mission School in that theatrical manner on the day following the strike, Swaminathan became so consistently stubborn that a few days later his father took him to the board school and admitted him there. At first, Swaminathan was rather uncertain of his happiness in the new school. But he excited the curiosity that all newcomers do and found himself, to his great satisfaction, the center of attraction in 2nd C. That was the class he was in, 2nd C. All his new classmates, remarkably new faces, often clustered round to see him and hear him talk. He had not yet picked the few that he would have liked to call his chums. He still believed that his Albert Mission set was intact, though since the reopening in June, the set was not what it had been before. Shankar disappeared, and the people said that his father had been transferred. Somu was promoted, and that meant he was automatically excluded from the group, the law being inexorable in that respect. The P was promoted, but he returned to the class exactly 3 months late, and he was quite full up with the medical certificates, explanations, and exemptions. He was a man of 100 worries now, and passed his old friends like a stranger. Only Rajam and Mani were still intact as far as Swaminathan was concerned. Mani saw him every day, but Rajam had not spoken to him since the day when his political doings became known. And now, this afternoon, Swaminathan was sitting in a dark corner of the house, trying to make a camera with a cardboard box and a spectacle lens, in his effort to fix the lens in the hole that was one round too large. He was on the point of losing his temper when he heard a familiar voice calling him. He ran to the door. "Hello, hello, Rajam," he cried. "Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" "What is the thing in your hand?" Rajam asked. "Oh," Somnathan said, blushing. Come, let's have a look at it." "Oh, it's nothing," Somnathan said, giving him the box. As Rajam kept gazing at the world through the hole in the cardboard box, Somnathan said, "Akbar Ali of our class has made a marvelous camera." "Has he? What does he do with it?" "He has taken a lot of photos with it." "Indeed, photos of what?" "He hasn't yet shown them to me, but they are probably photos of houses, people, and trees." Rajam sat down on the doorstep and asked, "And who is this Akbar Ali?" "He's a nice Mohammedan, belongs to our class." In the board high school, there was just a suspicion of a sneer in his tone. Swaminathan preferred to ignore this question and continued. "He has a bicycle. He's a very fine Mohammedan, calls Muhammad of Ghazni and Aurangzeb rascals." "What makes you think that they were that?" "Didn't they destroy our temples and torture the Hindus? Have you forgotten the Somnath god?" "We Brahmins deserve that and more," said Rajam. In our house, my father does not care for new moon days, and there are no annual ceremonies for the dead. He was in a debating mood, and Swaminathan realized it and remained silent. Rajam said, I tell you what, it's your board high school that has given you this mentality." Swaminathan felt that the safest course would be to agree with him. "You are right in a way, I don't like the board high school." "Then why did you go and join it?" "I could not help it. You saw how beastly our master was. If you had been in my place, you would have kicked him in the face." This piece of flattery did not soothe Rajam. "If I were you, I would have kept clear of all your dirty politics and strikes." His father was a government servant, and hence his family was anti-political. Swaminathan said, "You are right. I should have remained at home on that day of the strike." This example of absolute submissiveness touched Rajam. He said promptly that he was prepared to forgive Swaminathan his past sins and would not mind his belonging to the board school. They were to be friends as of old. "What would you say to a cricket team?" Rajam asked. Swaminathan had not thought of cricket as something that he himself could play. He was, of course, familiar with Hobbs, Bradman, and Duleep, and vainly tried to carry their scores in his head, as Rajam did. He filched pictures of cricket players, as Rajam did, and pasted them in an album, though he secretly did not very much care for those pictures. There was something monotonous about them. He sometimes thought that the same picture was pasted in every page of the album. "No, Rajam, I don't think I can play. I don't know how to play." "That's what everybody thinks," said Rajam. "I don't know myself, though I collect pictures and scores," that Rajam said. This was very pleasing to hear. Probably Hobbs too was shy and skeptical before he took the bat and swung it. This Hobbs was one of the famous cricketers of long ago, the period to which this novel relates.
You are trying for space and we have an airplane here. I'm going to say welcome, but I will.
We can challenge a lot of teams, including our school even 11. They think they can't be beaten, said Swaminathan. "What? The board school must think that? We shall thrash them, oh yes." "What shall we call it?" "Don't you know it is the MCC, said Rajan. That is Hobbs' team, isn't it? They may drag us before a court if we take their name." "Who says that if we get into any troubles, I shall declare before the judge that MCC stands for Malgudi Cricket Club." Swaminathan was a little disappointed. Though as MCC sounded imposing, the name was really a bit tame. "I think we had better try some other name," Rajam said. "What would you suggest?" "Well, I'm for Friends 11. "Friends 11? Or say, Jumping Stars," said Swaminathan. "Oh, that's not bad. Not bad, I do think it would be glorious to call ourselves Jumping Stars." Rajam instantly had a vision of a newspaper report. "The Jumping Stars soundly thrashed the board high school 11. It was a beauty, I think," he cried, moved by the vision. He pulled out a piece of paper and pencil and said, "Come on, Swami, repeat the names that come to your head. It would be better to have a long list to select from. We shall underline Jumping Stars and MCC and give them special consideration. Come on." Swaminathan remained thoughtful and started. "Friends 11, Jumping Stars, Friends Union." "I have Friends Union already here," Rajam said, pointing to the list. Swaminathan went on. "Excelsiors. I've got it. Excelsior Union. Champion 11. A long pause. "Are you dried up?" Rajam asked. "No, if Mani were here, he would have suggested a few more names," Champion 11. You have just said it. Victory Union 11. That's very good. I think it's very, very good. People would be afraid of us. He held the list before him and read the names with great satisfaction. He had struggled hard on the previous night to get a few names, but only Friends Union and the Excelsiors kept coming till he felt fatigued. But what a lot of names Swaminathan was able to reel off. Can you meet me tomorrow morning, Swami? I shall get money down. Let us select a name. After a while, Swaminathan asked, Look here, do you think we shall have to pay tax or something to the government when we start the team? The government seems to tax everything in the world. My father's pay is about 500, but nearly 200 and over is demanded by the government. Anyway, what makes you think that we shall have to pay tax? I mean, if we don't pay tax, the government may not recognize our team or its name, and 100 other teams may take the same name. It might lead to all sorts of complications.
Because as you know, my older brother was also in town.
Suppose we take two names as Rajan. It's not done. I know a lot of teams have two names. When I was in Bishop Ballers, we had a cricket team that we called, I don't remember the name now, I think we called it Cricket 11 and Ballers Cricket 11. You see, one name is for ordinary use and the other is for matches. It's all pretty well for a rich team like your Wallers, but suppose the government demands two taxes from us. Rajam realized at this point that the starting of a cricket team was the most complicated problem on earth. He had simply expected to gather a dozen fellows on the Maidan next to his compound and play and challenge the world. But there were endless troubles, starting with the name that must be unique, government taxes, and so on. The government did not seem to know where it ought to interfere and where not to interfere. He had a momentary sympathy for Gandhi. No wonder he was dead against the government. Swaminathan seemed to be an expert in thinking out difficulties. He said, even if we want to pay, whom are we to pay the taxes to? Certainly not to His Majesty or the Viceroy. Who was the government? What if somebody should take the money and defraud them? Somebody pretending to be the government. Probably they would have to send the taxes by money order to the governor. Well, that might be treason. And then what was the amount to be paid? They sat round Rajam's table in his room. Money had before him a catalogue of Messrs. Binns, the shop for sports goods. He read Junior Willard bats, 7-8, made of finest seasoned wood used by Cambridge Junior Boys 11. Let me have a look at it, said Rajam. He bent over the table and said, Seems to be a fine bat. Have a look at it, Swami. Swaminathan craned his neck and agreed, yes, that it was a fine bat. But he was indiscreet enough to say, it looks like any other bat in the catalogue. Mani's left hand shot out and held his neck and pressed his face close to the picture on the bat. Why do you pretend to be a cricket player if you cannot see the difference between Junior Willard and the other bats? You are not fit to be even a sweeper in our team. After this admonition, the hold was relaxed. Rajam asked, Swami, do you know what the catalogue man calls the Junior Willard? It seems it is the Rolls Royce among junior bats. Don't you know the difference between the Rolls Royce and other cars? Swaminathan replied haughtily, I never said I saw no difference between the Rolls Royce and other cars. So what is the difference? Asked Rajam. Mani laughed and teased. Come on, if you really know the difference, why don't you say it? Swaminathan said, the rolls cost 1 lakh of rupees, while other cars cost about 10,000. A Rolls has engines made of silver, while the other cars have iron engines. Jeered Rajam. A Rolls never gives trouble, while other cars always give trouble. A Rolls engine never stops. A Rolls Royce never makes a noise, while other cars always make a noise. Why not deliver a lecture on Rolls Royce? Asked Mani. Swami, I am glad you know so much about the Rolls Royce. I am at the same time ashamed to find you knowing so little about Willard Jr. We had about a dozen Willard Juniors when I was in Bishop Wallace. Oh, what bats! There are actual springs inside the bat, so that when you touch the ball, it flies. There's a fine silk cord wound around the handle. You don't know anything and yet you talk. Show me another bat which has silk cord and springs, like the Willard. There was a pause. After that, Rajam said, note it down, Swami. Swaminathan noted down on a paper, Willard Jr. bat, and looking up asked, how many? Say 3. Will that do money? Why waste money on 3 bats? One will do. I will, yeah, 2 will do. But suppose one breaks in the middle of a match, Rajam asked. Do you suppose we are going to supply bats to our opponents? They'll have to come provided with bats. We must make it clear. Even then, if our bat breaks, we may have to stop playing. 2 will do, Rajam, unless you want to waste money. Rajam's enthusiasm was great. He left his chair and sat on the arm of Mani's chair, gloating over the pictures of cricket goods in the catalogue. Swaminathan, though he was considered to be a bit of a heretic, caught the enthusiasm and perched on the other arm of the chair. All the 3 devoured with their eyes the glossy pictures of cricket bats, balls, and nets. In about an hour, they selected from the catalogue their team's requirements, and then came the most difficult part of the whole affair. A letter to Messrs. Binns, ordering goods. Bare courtesy made Rajam offer the authorship of the letter to Mani, who declined it. Swaminathan was forced to accept it in spite of his protests, and he sat for a long time, chewing his pencil without producing a word. He had infinite troubles with spelling, and the more he tried to be correct, the more muddled he was becoming. In the end, he sat so long thinking of spelling that even such words as the and became doubtful. Rajam took up the task himself. Half an hour later, he placed on the table a letter from MCC into bracket and Victory Union 11, Malgudi. 2. Messrs. Binns, Sportsmen, Mount Road, Madras. Sorry for that. Dear sir, please send our team 2 junior Willard bats, 6 balls, wickets, and other things quick. It's very urgent. We shall send you money afterwards. Don't fear, please be urgent. Yours obediently, Captain Rajam. Captain. The letter received Swaminathan's benedictions, but Mani expressed certain doubts. He wanted to know whether dear could stand at the beginning of a letter to a perfect stranger. How can he call Binns dear sir? You must say sir. Rajam's explanation was, I won't say sir. It is said only by clerks. I am not Binns' clerk. I don't care to address him as sir. So this letter went as it was. After this exacting work, They were resting with a feeling of relief when the postman came in with a card for Rajam. Rajam read it and cried, "Guess who has written this?" "Binns." "Silly, it must be our headmaster. Somebody, J.B. Hobbs." "No, it is from Shankar," Rajam announced. Shankar? We had almost forgotten that old thief. Swaminathan and Mani tore the card from Rajam's hand and read, "My dear friend, I am studying here because my father came here. My mother is also here. All of us are here, and we will be here only. I am doing well. I hope you are doing well. It is very hot here. I had fever for 3 days and drank medicine. I hope I will read well and pass the examination. Is Swami and Mani doing well? It is very hot here. I am playing cricket now. I can't write more. With regards, your dearest friend, Shankar. P.S. Don't forget me, Shankar." They were profoundly moved by this letter and decided to reply at once. 3 letters were ready in an hour. Mani copied Shankar's letter verbatim. Swaminathan and Rajam wrote nearly similar letters. They said they were doing well by the grace of God. They hoped that Shankar would pass and also that he was doing well. Then they said a lot about their cricket team and hoped that Shankar would become a member. They also said that Shankar's team might challenge them to a match. The letters were put into a stamped envelope and the flap was pasted. It was only then that they felt the need of knowing Shankar's address. They searched all parts of Shankar's card. Not a word anywhere. Not even the name of the town he was writing from. They tried to get this out of the postmark, but a dark curved smudge on the stamp cannot be very illuminating. The MCC and its organizers had solid proof that they were persons of count when a letter from Binns came addressed to the Campton MCC Malgudi. It was a joy touching that beautiful envelope and turning it over in the hand. Binns were the first to recognize the MCC, and Rajam took a vow that he would buy every bit that his team needed from the great firm. There were 3 implications in his letter that filled Rajam and his friends with rapture. 1. That His Majesty's Post Office recognized their team was proved by the fact that the letter addressed to the captain was promptly delivered to him. 2. That they were really recognized by such a magnificent firm as Binns of Madras was proved by the fact that Binns cared to reply in a full letter and not on a card, and actually typed the letter. And 3, Binns sent under another cover carrying 4 annas postage a huge catalogue. What a tribute! The letter informed the captain that Messrs. Binns thanked them for his letter, and would be much obliged to him if he would kindly remit 25% with the order, and the balance could be paid against the VPP of the railway's receipt. Now, VPP is value paid post, that is to say, cash on delivery. Three heads buzzed over the meaning of this letter. The trouble was that they could not understand whether Binns were going to send the goods or not. Mani promised to unravel the letter if somebody would tell him what obliged meant. When they turned the pages of a dictionary and offered him the meaning, he was none the wiser. He felt that it was a meaningless word in that place. One thing is clear, said Rajam. Binns thanks us for our letter, so I don't think this letter could mean a refusal to supply us goods. Swaminathan agreed with him. That is right. If he did not wish to supply you with things, would he thank you? He would have abused you. He scrutinized the letter again to make sure that there was no mistake about the thanks. Why was the fool used? Why has the fool used this word? Mani asked, referring to oblige, which he could not pronounce. It has no meaning. Is he trying to make fun of us? He says something about 25%. I wish I knew what it was, said Rajam. Swaminathan could hardly contain himself. I say, Rajam, I am surprised that you cannot understand this letter. You got 60% in the last examination. Have you any sense in you? What has that to do with this? Even a BA cannot understand this letter. In the end, they came to the conclusion that the letter was sent to them by mistake. As far as they could see, the MCC had written nothing in their previous letter to warrant such expressions as obliged, remit, and 25%. It could not be that the great firm of Binns were trying to make fun of them. Swaminathan pointed out to the captain MCC at the beginning of the letter, but he was told that it was also part of the mistake. This letter was put in a cover with a covering letter and dispatched. The covering letter said, "We are very sorry that you sent me somebody's letter. We are returning this somebody's letter. Please send our things immediately." The MCC were optimistic lot. Though they were still unhonored with a reply to their second letter, they expected the goods to arrive with every post. After 10 days, they thought they would start playing with whatever was available till they got the real bats, etc. The bottom of a dealwood case provided them with 3 good bats, and Rajam managed to get 3 used tennis balls from his father's club. The P was there offering 4 real stumps that he believed he has somewhere in his house. A neat slip of ground adjoining Rajam's bungalow was to be the pitch. Everything was ready. Even if Binns took a month more to manufacture the goods, especially for the MCC, as they faintly thought probable. There would need be no delay in starting practice. By the time the real bats and the balls arrived, they would be in form to play matches. Rajam had chosen from his class a few who, he thought, deserved to become members of MCC. At 5 o'clock on the opening day, the MCC had assembled, all except the P, for whom Rajam was waiting anxiously. He had promised to bring the real stumps. It was half an hour past the time, and yet he was not to be seen anywhere. At last, his puny figure was discovered in the distance. There was a catch in Rajam's heart when he saw him. He strained his eyes to find out if the P had the things about him. But since the latter was coming from the west, he was seen in the blaze of this evening sun. All the 12 assembled in the field shaded their eyes and looked. Some said he was carrying a bundle, while some thought he was swinging his hands freely. When he arrived, Rajam asked, "Why didn't you tell us that you hadn't got the stumps?" "I've still got them," protested the P. "I shall bring them tomorrow. I am sure my father knows where they are kept." "You kept us waiting till now. Why did you not come earlier and tell us that you could not find them?" "I tell you, I've been spending hours looking for them everywhere. How can I come here and tell you at the same time search?" A cloud descended upon the gathering. For over 20 hours, everyone among them had been dreaming of swinging a bat and throwing a ball, and they could have realized the dream but for P's wickedness. Everybody looked at him sourly. He was isolated. Rajam felt like crying when he saw the dealwood planks and the tennis balls lying useless on the ground. What a glorious evening they could have had if only the stumps had been brought. Amidst all this gloom, somebody cast a ray of light by suggesting that they might use the cupboard wall of Rajam's bungalow as a temporary wicket. So they could have used the compound wall of Rajam's bungalow. A portion of the wall was marked off with a piece of charcoal, and the captain arranged the field and opened the batting himself. Somnathan took up the bowling. He held a tennis ball in his hand, took a few paces, and threw it over. Rajam swung the bat, but missed it. The ball hit the wall right under the charcoal mark. Rajam was bowled out with the very first ball. There was a great shout of joy. The players pressed round Swaminathan to shake him and pat him on the back, and he was given on the very spot the title Tate. That was very great. So they started playing cricket and organized. This chapter tells us about how these children are imagining they are doing things in a very business-like manner and writing letter and receiving reply and organizing the team and everything. It is interesting reading. Thank you. We'll continue next time.